Hello. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my friend Taylor's Reiki session today. It's insane. Like, it's actually insane. So I've known her for quite a while, and I know that she used to be like a manifesting queen, and she could just make all of her own dreams come true. And she still obviously has those abilities, but she had gone through like a lot of stress and trauma and just like the same kind of negative, low vibing stuff pounding on her like day in, day out for years. And she just kind of, it was like she was just pulled into some kind of dark hole or something. And her voice, was lower and flatter and lackluster. And you could just hear the constant pain that she was in, you know what I mean? And she was doing her best. She was always doing her best. She was, going to therapy and just, I don't know, like no one really had the answers for her either though. Like she kept kind of getting ragdolled around by different professionals and yeah. So I could see that she was in a place where she was like, kind of like mentally getting ready for like having a big change. She started saying things like, okay, I've got to like get out of like I've got to watch any kind of victimhood thoughts and I've got to start to like, anyway, she was starting to really sort of like, I was like, okay, cool, I can hear, like she's ready. And then I just had this like pressing feeling on me of like, get her near you, like bring her, like, cause she lives ages away from me. Like get her near you, like she needs to be near you. And then I started to like just tap into like where she was, whatever she was doing at the time. And I could see, I was like, oh God, I can see the energy on you. Like I can see it's so dark and it's so like heavy and I need to like clear it. I need to get it off you because like it's going to be so much harder for you to do all the things you need to do with this shit weighing you down. And she was like, okay. And then we tried to line it up a couple of times and then I just had this like feeling because it kept like not going ahead and not happening. And I was like, hey, like not to like freak you out, but I was like, if we try and line it up again and something else comes up that you can't come or whatever, I was like, I have a feeling that it's like something's trying to like stop you from coming as well as, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if that sounds crazy. She's like, no, that sounds like about right. She was like, no, totally. Like, I'll definitely come. And it wasn't in a way of like, hey, don't cancel on me because I cancel on plans and I like to, whenever someone cancels on plans with me, I'm like, yay, I get to stay home and do nothing. So it's not like that. Like it was a genuine, I could see something really negative around her. Because she'd just been like pushed into such a low vibration for so long. Anyway, so she comes over and we were hanging out, having a great time. And she is like a very like open channel. She's spiritually connected. She has been, in the spiritual world for a long time. She's the kind of person that, I was talking to her about this sort of stuff a while ago and she was saying something along the lines of like, she's felt in her life at different points when different loved ones were going through things that it's almost like the sickness that they have or whatever it is that they're going through kind of uses her as a landing pad or whatever before the person then like has to move on or I don't know. I can't remember. I got to get her on to talk about this because it's crazy cool. But anyway, so she comes over. We're doing the Reiki. And I was just being completely guided. I was like, okay, I've just, make sure I ground us both. And I was about to begin. I did a bit of grounding and then I heard like my guides. I literally felt my team like there. There was a lot of my people there. And I was like, oh, wow. And then it was like, no, don't do it just yet. Like ground even more, like really like we're building up protection. And I was like, sweet, okay. And then I felt like Paige's guide arrive and the energy was like this really bubbly, feminine, excited, like cheerleader type of like, it was so cute. And she was communicating to me with a lot of pictures in my head. So it was a fun process because I had to work out what she was talking about half the time in regards to what Paige needed and what she was showing me. And anyway, so I was just sort of working on her chakras, like trying to just pull them into a balance and heal the main energy centers in her body. And I could suddenly see like this really kind of charcoaly, dense, like heavy, dead energy. Not dead energy, but it was like good light energy died there. It was just a low vibration. And so I'm like scooping it all off. And then like Serena had taught me when she was giving me like a Reiki rundown to like, because visualization is what pulls your energy. And when you're pulling your energy into a certain direction, you're like literally moving energy and everything. So if you're visualizing, like say a dust bin that then goes out into the ether, like into the galaxy or whatever, like you can put any bad stuff into that. And it's like a visualization of removing it from my person, which is the main thing, and not having it linger. So, you know, I'm like sweeping this stuff off her and having to like pull it down her body and like out of her feet and just off her chest, so much of it around her heart. Oh my God. Clearing it, putting it in this bin. And originally like her throat chakra, like I couldn't even feel it. It was like, wasn't there. It was so weak. And by the end of the session, I could feel it again, and it had like a bit more strength and everything to it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I've pulled all the stuff off her, and then I was like, all right, like, you know, are we done here? And then her guide was like, no. Like, and then she was showing me, because like I felt that Paige's crown was like so fucking open. It was like wide open. And then I had this visual of anything being able to come through, like light and lower vibrations, just like so wide, no boundary kind of thing. And she kept showing me like a road grate, like, you know, like not a storm drain, you know, in the middle of the road, the circle thing, it's made of like really heavy iron thing. Fucking, what am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about, right? It fucks me. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so I was seeing one of those, and even though they don't have like holes in them, they've got that kind of like pattern on them as if they are a grate. Anyway, so she was showing me one of those and then showing it to me like made out of light, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, put like a light protection grate over Paige's crown. And then I felt her guide just like, yes, like you got it. I was like, fuck me, this is so funny. I was like trying to communicate like with like totally different ways of communicating. So then I'm like putting this like grate on Paige's crown, and it was made of light, and the intention behind that was that so only good could come through. You know what I mean? And then I was like, all right, are we done here? La, la, la. And this session was going on for a long time. Like it went for like an hour and a bit, I think. It was crazy. And I had to I started hearing this like kind of chant going through my head. So I had to put my hand over her third eye. And in my head, I was chanting, you'll see the world how I see it. You'll see the world how I see it. You'll see the world how I see it. And then over her hands, I was in my head, and like these weren't words that I was thinking up. They were just suddenly there, and it was just repeating. And it was like, my power is your power, my power is your power, my power is your power. And as I was doing this, I could see this gold light coming out from my hand into hers, just trickling down. It was so beautiful. And I could feel it. Like I could literally feel this like pressure of energy between our hands. It was so fucking cool. And while I'm doing that, her hands are like twitching about, and her eyes were completely closed and I had a covering over her eyes. So she didn't know where I was, but her hands were like twitching. And then I moved my hands away, and her arm fully raised up off the couch and then just flopped back down. And I was like, fucking whoa. And then, what else? Oh yeah. She's just said like out loud, like, so Paige had been like quiet this whole time. And then all of a sudden she just goes like, there's something on my arm. And I was like, okay, I'll have a look at it. And then in my head, I was going to be like, no, it was probably just like the energy you're feeling surging through your arms because of what I was just doing. But then I immediately after that had this pressing feeling of like, no, investigate it. And so I'm like holding my arms like out and around, like just moving to different parts of holding my hands out over her arm, just scanning like to different parts of her arm, not just like her hands. And I felt this like kind of density of energy, and I was like, interesting. And then I moved down and I was like, oh, it's like going down the side of the couch, because she was laying on, this was before I had my massage bed for people to lay on. So she was just on my couch, and I felt like down by her arm, like attached to her arm, and then going down the side of the couch was this like really dense matter of energy. And I was like, whoa, I could feel it. And I was like, holy shit. And then as soon as I could actually feel it, I could suddenly see it, and it was black, and my eyes were open. It was in my mind's eye, but my eyes were open. I was looking at her arm, and I could just see this black like entity attached to her. And I won't lie, like there was an initial moment of panic that went through my body. I was like, fucking holy fuck. And I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. But then I was like, no, it's fine. I can do this. And I just visualized even more like light coming down through my crown and into my hands. So like when you're doing Reiki and when you're healing someone like this, you're not using your own life force energy. You're using, like, you're channeling that from the universe so that you don't drain yourself and you don't want to entangle too much, because you are entangling energy with someone when you're doing Reiki. You don't want to have any of their stuff like attached to you and that kind of thing. And you don't want it to drain all of your goodness. So anyway, so I'm like reinforcing that. I'm reinforcing this light coming down through me. I'm reinforcing these like gold gloves on my hands. I'm making sure that like I'm protected. And then I just had to like start like searing it, essentially. Like light was coming out of my hand and like going along her arm and just like shoop, 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 like searing this entity off her arm. And then I'm like holding it in my other hand. And by the time it started to let go of her and like be in my hand, my pinky started to feel like lead. It was like hot and lead. It felt like, well, both my hands were fucking hot anyway. They were sizzling. They always get really sizzly when I do Reiki. But yeah, this like it was literally as if someone was hanging onto my pinky trying to stop me from like walking away, like that kind of level of pressure. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I'm like looking at it there in my hands, and I was like, bleh, like this is so disgusting. Like it was literally like, I was like, bleh. And I like turned to the side and I opened up this like chute, I guess, that just led out into like the universe. And I was saying like, you know, like take this off me and out of here and do whatever you need to do with it and get this like out of here and take it to wherever it needs to go. And I like had light just beaming down through my head and out of my arms, out of my hands, and just like, psh, you know, just like not only me letting go of it, but also light like fucking following it down there into the abyss, essentially. And then I was like, ugh, like gave my hands a shake off. I was like, whoa, that was really scary. And then I went back to that spot in her arm and just filled it with light, like filled it up with light as if I was like suturing up a wound or something like that, but with light. And then, after that, I can't remember what else. Oh, there was also like a little spirit type of thing kind of just on her. It was like someone had passed or whatever and then didn't know how to get to the other side or wherever they needed to go, and saw Taylor, a being of light, and just like attached to her so that she, I don't know, could give this little spirit some life force. I don't know. It was just like a lost wayward soul or something like that. And I could feel it moving underneath my hands. So like my hands were going over her and I would just feel this like zoom, and I was like, oh, and then I'd be like, where'd it go? Like I can't feel it anymore. And then I'd feel it again and zoom, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, it's moving. And I was like, come here. So I grabbed that, and that was pretty easy. It was just a matter of like literally pulling it off her, and then gave that to an angel to take away. So then I like put this bubble around her like of liquid, as if it was like a water bubble, like a little water droplet, and then she was like inside it kind of thing. So so her energy could be more fluid, less spiky, less up and down, less, you know, less chaotic, just fluid. And it was like just this beautiful protection, just like love and light and protection. And so then I like, you know, grounded us both again, closed up the channels kind of thing, and thanked all of the team for helping. And then spoke to her afterwards. I was like, hey, come back. We're all finished. And she was like, oh my God, that was so crazy. And I was like, what? And she was like, my hand, she was like, you were doing something on my body. And then she was like, I just had this black entity thing come into my field of vision. and it was like taunting me, kind of like ha kind of like meh vibes. And it was like saying, she's never going to find me. She's only focusing on your chakras. She's not going to find me. I'm hiding from her, kind of thing. And that's when Taylor like freaked out and was just like, there's something on my arm. And she was like, when I said that, it felt like it was trying to pull me into like down through the couch, like into the ground kind of thing. She was like, it was pulling so hard on me. And I was like, bro, when I pulled it off you, it was hanging off my pinky, pulling me. I was like, it was fucked up. And I was like, it was black and blue. And she was like, yeah, that's what it looked like. And I was like, whoa, like insane. And then she said that at the start, when I kind of went to begin and then went back and stopped for a minute, she was like, as soon as your hands kind of came over me, flames just went up in my eyes. She was like, I saw flames, and then your hands moved and they went away. And I was like, yeah, I was about to begin. And then I was like, I got told like, no, you need more protection, more grounding. And so I had to do that and then commence. And she was like, that's insane, because when you came back the second time, there was no flames. I was like, fuck off, cunt. This is fucked up. So, what else happened? She was telling me that she could feel too, like she could feel like different parts where my hands were over. She could feel little bits where it was like zoo, zoo. She felt like, you know, floaty, that kind of stuff, like, you know, awesome feedback. And then this is where it gets amazing. And this is like the part that I'm like the most excited about and proud of and everything. But she called me she sent me a voice message like 2 days later. And I am not even kidding you. I was just filled with so much joy, because her voice, like I said earlier, had been so flat and so like lackluster for like a couple of years there, where everything was really fucked for her. And fair enough. Like I've heard my voice in a similar way, like in similar, but my own version of like hard times and everything. And when she voice messaged me after the Reiki session, she was like, hey babe, blah, 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 blah. Her voice was like sing-songy, and it was like, it had vitality in it and it had energy behind it. And I was just like, fucking listen to you. She was like, I'm just feeling really good. I feel like I'm on a cloud. I feel like I'm just like, everything's really great, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, get out of here. This is incredible. And then fucking insane. A few more days later, she was like, yeah, I'm just like really thinking I'm going to get the car of my dreams. Like, fuck it. Why not? Like, I've been wanting this car for a really long time, and like, I'm just going to get it. Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't. And she's like, so then I went and talked to the car dealer and organized XYZ. And she's like, so yep, now I've sorted that out. And she was like, I've been wanting to get a cafe with my partner. So we've like started looking around again and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. And then she just started like every maybe like few days to, when was this? The session was maybe like a month ago now. You would not believe what she's been doing in this last month. So I had a call with her the other day, and she just started like, I was typing out notes when she was talking to me about everything that she's been experiencing post Reiki. And I'm going to just read that out to you, because I think it's the most incredible transformation I've ever heard of. All right. So where is it? Here it is. Okay, so Taylor's mental health and anxiety were not great before the Reiki session, and after she feels lighter and she's in a positive headspace. She's less tolerant of negativity, drama, and stress. She's established healthier boundaries. And then the session positively affected her relationships, especially at home. So she's happier and feels even more in love. And like, she already had a great relationship with her partner. Oh my God, they're amazing. I'm obsessed with them. Like, they inspire me so much. But she was feeling even more in love. Like, that's so beautiful. And then coping better with parenting challenges, because like literally a lot of them have ADHD and some of them have autism. There's 2 kids. And so, yeah, just like coping better with all of that, because being a parent is tricky, even when you are energetically fine and there's nothing crazy going on in your life. But when life is hard and then also you're parenting, like, that's a lot of space to hold, and it's it's hectic. So yeah, she was noticing a big change there with energy. And it says, I wrote more energy and patience for her children. And then Taylor's dream of opening a cafe, she faced like a bunch of rejections and everything until after the Reiki session. So it was just like, you know, the universe would have been like, yes, like look for a cafe. Like, yes, this is the right aligned step for you to take, but we're not going to give you the wrong one kind of thing. And there was lots of no's. But I think like energetically, she wasn't in the space to handle the energy it would take to push it forward, to turn that dream into a reality. Like that's creative energy, and that's all locked in your lower centers, like your energy centers, like your root chakra and all that. So you need a lot of creative energy to bring something like this to life, right? Just like when you're making a child. So the Reiki session would have like cleared away all that dense stuff that was eating her life force energy. You know what I mean? And then she was able to actually use that energy, and I've pulled her energy centers into alignment and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she finally found the perfect space, and it aligned with her vision. It was like exactly what she wanted, like location and, you know, aesthetically and everything. And like basically there wasn't the same rigmarole that all the other places had put her through. Like they didn't want to know all the same information. She didn't have to like work as hard to get the lease signed. And yeah, she just like basically applied for this cafe and got it. So really cool. And then what else? I wrote, the Reiki reignited her creative motivation. It reduced intrusive thoughts. So she didn't have as much of that negative voice in her head telling her that she can't do it. What's the point? All of that. And she was in a pretty bad place. Like over the last like 12 months, she'd had, trigger warning, sorry, but she'd had like suicidal thoughts and everything, and was in like, can't express enough how much of a low place that she was in. And like now, like when I look back and I've seen her, that like entity that was on her, I'm like, well, that would have 100% been the negative thoughts or the instigator of them, because obviously humans are kind of negatively biased anyway, in the sense that we are more likely to believe something that seems horrible, or, you know, spend longer giving our attention and our energy to things that are negative just because they draw us in. And, yeah, I think, yeah, we cleared that shit off her. So less intrusive thoughts, and it inspired her to declutter as well and create a bit more of a simpler life. And she's kind of reflecting more of a physical embodiment of her inner transformation. So we cleared that shit out of her energetically. And then she just wanted to like reorganize her home, declutter. Like she's been cleaning shit out. She's been throwing out stuff that she's had for ages. And yeah, just making a lot of space and just wanting more clarity outside and inside, which is really, really cool. And I wrote, Taylor's lighter energy had a ripple effect on her family. So more positivity was getting reflected back to her from her children, and increased motivation in her partner as well. And her partner's already like really motivated person, but even more. And family pursuing additional income opportunities. So they were kind of just like just inspired to like be like, oh, fuck it, we'll start this other little like side quest that can bring in money. And they did that. Like literally like every single thought that Taylor has been having that felt like yes, she has been actioning, and it's been turning out well. I'm just like, go baby, go, you can fucking do it. Keep slaying, this is amazing. And then synchronicities and manifestation have been happening a lot lately. So she just keeps seeing angel numbers daily, like heaps of them throughout the day. And then she manifested her son's enrollment in a specific school. So the cafe's location aligned with her son's school's catchment area, like his new school, because this is a place that she's been wanting him to be able to go to, but couldn't because they were outside of the catchment in every way. But now they have property in the catchment area. So he can go there. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, oh my God, the alignment that's happening. So she was sort of just recognizing how far she had drifted from alignment, and she had a new appreciation for like being in sync with her true self. Like it had been so long that it was almost like a distant memory or something of a time when she was like manifesting like a queen and feeling in alignment and like hearing the positivity from the universe and all of that. And now she could like hear it again and see it again and embody it again and action her steps like based on collaborating with the universe. And Oh, I've got goosebumps. I'm so happy for her. So positive changes in Taylor's parenting style. So she's supporting her children's hopes and dreams a lot more as well, and introducing affirmation cards to nurture her son's imaginations. So like, how cute is that? Like her younger son, she like had these like affirmation cards that she made. She's very creative, and she sat him down in front of the mirror and started doing these little affirmation cards with him of a morning or a night. I can't remember. And she said that his like reaction to it was that he just loved it so much. He was like started to ask her if they could do it. Be like, "Mummy, can we do the affirmations?" Oh my God. Like, that is the most beautiful thing in the entire world. And then, the Reiki session helped Taylor become more present in her body, gaining clarity on past experiences, improved understanding of physical responses to emotions. So she was able to just like listen to her body so much more, which is so important. It is crucial. And then she was acknowledging ongoing challenges as well. So previous struggles with self-destructive thoughts have been, presently feeling more relaxed and carefree, continual work towards self-improvement. So I remember her saying on the phone call that like now that the big blocks were out of the way, other things that she had been struggling with, like, you know, some traumas and some stuff that kind of needed working on started to slowly rise as well. And that's a good thing. Like, you want to be able to work on that stuff. You want to be able to see that stuff. But when it's like pushed down so far, you know, into darkness, you can't really even see the things that are affecting your everyday life. And then you just kind of feel like, why is life so hard? Why is everything not working out for me? And it's like, well, you know, energetically, you might have this entire blanket of darkness over you, also pushing down the things that unconsciously control your reactions, your thoughts, your perception of the world, that kind of thing. So all this stuff started coming up again, and but not too fast, not too hard. So she's very much experiencing more light and positivity than, you know, depth and whatnot at the moment, which is really good. She needs it. She hasn't seen herself living in such a way in such a long time. So she needs a big injection of light. She needs a big injection of love, and the universe is giving that to her so that she is able to sustain this momentum when it is time to start really diving into that shadow work. And that shadow work is such an important thing to do. And it's a blessing that it's coming up a little bit. It's kind of showing its head, being like, hey, you know, you'll start working on this soon, and that's fine. And she feels equipped for that. She is absolutely not afraid of working on that stuff. And, you know, when it's time to work on it, she'll know, because she's in touch with herself now. She can hear herself, her body, her connection to the universe, and her higher self. Like, well, she always was, but we've just like taken away some of that density between that connection. I'm just so happy for her. I can't get over that. I had another crazy Reiki session with another one of my friends I'll talk about in a different episode. So let me know if you're a fan of these Reiki session stories, and I can keep doing them. Yeah, your feedback is definitely helpful on the favorite kind of, because my life is huge, guys. Like, there's so much that I do all the fucking time, like constantly. There's never a boring moment. And even if I am having those more still times in life where I'm more insular and I'm not seeing a lot of people and I'm spending a lot of time alone, just being really slow in a full soft girl era, like, even then I'm working through some of like the most incredible, deep shit and learning so much about myself and the way I work. So there's always something interesting that I can share, you know what I mean? So yeah, let me know what you like hearing. I'll just continue doing my own thing anyway, but it is good to know what to do more of. So hopefully that was inspiring. If you're feeling like you need Reiki, hit up your local healer. I think it's an incredible thing. I think it's really, really beautiful. If you're feeling a little rattled, a little stressed, a little bit like dense, heavy, if you're feeling like you haven't been in touch with yourself in a long time, if you're feeling fine but you just want like a little bit more of a boost, I reckon hit up a local healer. Hit up someone who's good at being like, they're good at using their intuition as well. So like Reiki and any kind of like energetic healing really is, it's not like the be all and end all fix. You have to be willing to do the work. You know what I mean? It just aids you in the sense that you won't be walking up such a steep hill. You'll be it'll just sort of help you along. It'll flatten that hill out a bit and make it more like you're walking along a slightly less angular, crazy situation, and just make it seem a little bit more like you've got some strength behind you. And if you can connect with someone who is very intuitive as well, they'll likely connect with your guides and your angels and stuff like that, and sort of give you some advice on what you're needing at the moment, as well as helping you with your energy. So yes, I do recommend it a lot. I love it. I love it. It's kind of like, I'm calling it Reiki, but like and I learned Reiki. I've got my Reiki master certificate. And I just I'm intuitively, naturally good at it. Like I just am. Like, sorry to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm just good at it. And everyone has the ability to do it. Everyone has this inside them. Literally everyone. It's just like getting past yourself to be able to access, and also getting yourself to a place in life where you're slow enough and you're like stress-free enough and grounded enough and centered enough in yourself to be able to do it, properly and in a healthy way. But I just feel like it's so much more than Reiki in the traditional sense, because I don't know what it is that I'm doing, but I know it's got like some extra sauce in it. It's got some extra added toppings, and that makes sense because I'm a unique individual and have my own set of strengths and everything that I can share with the world and everything. But yeah, like I'm saying Reiki for lack of a better term, but I think it's like what Serena was saying the other day, like energy healing something. Energy frequency healing. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But same. That's more of the gist of it. It's like I'm working with your frequency. I'm tapping into your frequency. That kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. Okay. Hope you liked it. Bye.